It's just how it's just naturally whole and complete, and it's not an experience. So, of course, naturally there is no approach to wholeness. There is no approach to sitting in a room. There is no approach to thinking, to feeling. There is no approach to what happens. And in that sense, this would be the difference, so to speak, to a teaching. While a teaching always addresses a person which is supposed to find the right approach to wholeness. But as what we talk about today, this is regarded, it's a bit a story, but this is regarded as an illusion. There is no separate entity. There is nothing separate which could or should or has to approach a higher reality or enlightenment or fulfillment or whatever the dream is. There just are no such things, one could say. There's neither a person, there's neither a separate entity, nor liberation for that person, or enlightenment for that person, or personal fulfillment. Whatever the idea is, what personal fulfillment is. It just doesn't exist. It's an illusion, so to speak, that something like that exists. And of course, when I say it's an illusion, it doesn't mean that there now suddenly is a real illusion. No, there just is no such thing as a person, or personal enlightenment, or fulfillment, or whatever the person might assume. So what we speak about today, seen from the person, so to speak, is rather death than something to gain, or something that the person will gain. Seen from the mere liberation or the end of the dream just looks like death. And the good news about that is that, of course, there is no such thing as death, because the one who assumes itself to be alive turns out to be an illusion. So there isn't something there in the first place which has to die, or could die, or should die. But as I said in the beginning, what this message is also saying in a way is that what is, what already happens, sitting in a room and being you and being me and feeling and thinking and all of that, is naturally whole. It's just naturally okay, and surprisingly exactly as it is. It's just this. There's nothing else to get or to reach or to gain or to lose in that. It's just naturally fine as it is. But, as I also said, for no one, which means that there is no one waking up to that. The person might assume that that wholeness has to become its reality. The person hopes for, when does I experience? When will I get that? When will I experience that? When will I be able to squeeze everything into my experience? And that doesn't exist. That's what doesn't work out. It's just impossible. Basically, one apparent reason is because you can't squeeze everything into an experience. The second apparent reason would be because experiencing itself is a dreamt state. It's an illusion. There is no such thing as experiencing. Hello. So there is no approach. There is no step to take. There is nothing to not do and not something to do. There is no suggestion. There is no real person which is on a path, which lives a personal life and moves towards something. It's just this. It's neither moving nor still. It's alive but also empty. In that sense, I'm not helpful at all. There is no one to help, and there is no one to be helped. So, this is it. And it's everything. And it's whole. And complete. For no one. Well, I just said it all, so.
This is wholeness.
Yeah, that's the basic info. It's whole and it's fine. For no one.
So why do we feel we're going to kind of get something?
Again?
Why do we kind of feel that we're going to get something?
Well, that's the hope.
Yeah.
In a way, the person never really gets something, but
Yeah, that's why we keep coming back. Because if we got it, I suppose we wouldn't come back.
that's an assumption. No, well, not really, because coming back here might happen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yes, as long as there's the person, the idea is that I'm coming here,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that I hopefully will get something.
Mm.
Yeah. But that's just like an additional dream. That I'm here, and that I'm here in order to get something.
Mm. Which is, it's fairly persistent, I guess, isn't it?
Well, persistent, the thing is just as long as it happens, it happens. It's inevitable.
Mm.
So, and seen from the me, or seen from I of course feel persistent because I'm real. So, this gives the impression of persistence and continuity, and I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a way, the whole sense of I am is that I'm something that's real,
Mm.
and I'm here. In a way, it's nothing, but this can't be experienced. Then it's not persistent at all. But that's funny. As soon as there's this sense of I am, it feels like the I am in time, always, since my whole life, so to speak. I am.
So, how did you happen to be here then? How come that happening has happened?
Well,
Not you, but the
Yeah,
happening.
exactly.
You're here in front of us. I just interested to hear how that happened. If you want to give us any history of the happening that you were here.
well,
You
I
can
mean,
give a history.
I can give it. I was just wondering when I shall start. When I entered the plane, or when I left home, or when
Well, I was thinking pre to that actually. I was thinking, how did you happen to feel you could happen
the
to
last
be-
few years. Yeah. Well, Well, in the end, the story to this would be, which is a I start very superficial,
Yeah.
that I died. This would be the story to it, or the sense that I am someone, or that there is something which I am that just vanished. This would be the story to it. And out of that vanishing, so to speak, or out of that, it's one way of putting it. The talk started. No, that would be the story to it.
Yeah, that was helpful just to hear that you died. There was a sense that something died anyway.
No, that's the thing. After death, there is no sense of anything anymore, because there is no sense of having died. That's why I said it's a very superficial story, because in the end, nothing dies, and there just is nothing there. That's what's a little bit the hard part of that, because I haven't arrived anywhere. So this talk don't come out of me having arrived somewhere. No one arrives anywhere. That doesn't exist. So
the dying happened.
apparently,
the dying happened, which is
for no real reason.
Oh yeah, no, you can't put a dot on the. Yeah, there's nothing that triggered the dying that you can that for no reason that you died. There the dying.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. While I was trying to be alive and become fulfilled, I died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
While I was working on my happy life,
the thing got taken out of you.
I got taken out.
Yeah, I got. Yeah. Okay. The rug of I got taken out.
So to speak. This
So,
would
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Which doesn't have a value on its own. It just is what apparently happened.
Yes, and we've got to be careful. Got to be careful that isn't what we're wanting. The death, because that we can fall into that, can't we? That this is why we're here. We're wanting what you've got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's which is what got referred to earlier. Just a sort of sense that we're trying to get something from being here.
I mean, in some way or the other, the me can't do differently. So whenever there is...
the me just does its... Yeah.
Exactly. So whenever there is the sense of a person, there will be some assumption or some hope of a benefit from that.
Yeah.
Or from wherever it is.
Yeah, I don't know quite what this being wanted. It just thought, I've heard of you. Friends were here.
Yeah.
Interested because of Tony Parsons, so listened to him. So had no idea though.
Yeah.
Before, yeah.
So would you say that since you are the happening of your dying, that your illusory self, your experience of your illusory self, has that changed?
Well, as a story, one could say the death of the illusory self is the change. That is the change.
And I wonder what sort of impact that might have had on your experience of your day-to-day life in terms of your thoughts, feelings.
Well, the thing is that there's nothing there experiencing a daily life anymore.
So
that's
other
what
than that, you wouldn't say that it's changed then?
Oh, a lot of things seem to have changed, but you can't really pinpoint it down.
Okay.
It's just life going on, so to speak, apparently.
So if there's nobody there to make the decisions,
Yes.
how would you explain that these decisions, for example, are made?
Our decisions just are what apparently happens, and they are never made. Even when there is a person, decisions aren't made. It's a dream that there is something like conscious decisions, and that there is a person who does conscious decisions.
Conscious decisions, what would you say, for example, that might be?
Well, the person might live in the illusion of, I'm now here, I'm conscious about myself, and that part of that experience to be me is to choose, and that I'm here, and out of that being here, I of course can say to go left and not right. But that's a dream. It never is like that. So going left happens or going right happens. Maybe thinking about it before or not, that's all. In that sense, it's probably not a big difference to you deciding. But that there is something as decisions is the dream. It's also a dream when there is a person. It's not that until up to one point there is a person deciding and suddenly not anymore. No, the person is never really deciding.
So could you kind of view it that life kind of unfolds,
Apparently.
and the person's kind of following a little bit behind, thinking they're directing it, but actually they're following it, or is that?
Well, not really, because well, it's somehow it's all a story, but it seems to experience on time, but it seems that the processing is a little bit afterwards. But,
Yeah. Because we do feel, well, I guess what I feel, that you do make decisions, like, you know, I'm going to have tea or a coffee, or I'm going to watch a film or go to bed.
yeah,
So we do have, you know, our lives are full of big and small decisions,
of course.
apparently.
Apparently, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Apparently, yeah.
But I suppose it's difficult because you can't rerun it. You can't say, well, tonight I'll do this, and then you can have the same night again and try something different.
And do it differently, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Certainly makes life a lot simpler, doesn't it?
Yes, but for no one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
life is simple, so to speak.
Yeah.
And the simplicity is that it simply is.
Yes.
That's what makes it simple. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I have a simple life.
Because there's no I to have a simple life.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I suppose the sense of there being a me and having all these complicated decisions to make makes
Exactly,
it a
there
complicated
isn't-
life. Without all that, you know,
Exactly, that
it's
there isn't anyone
the compounding of the
navigating through this artificial world of where do I find fulfillment
shoulds and shouldn't.
and what is happiness about and in which point I'm at in my life, all that.
Yes, because there's all these ideas that we navigate with.
Exactly, so
Life and
that might become simpler,
aging.
but my life now seems to be much more complicated than when I was a spiritual seeker. So,
You're saying that?
I have to buy tickets and arrange
your life
dates,
is
and
more than this.
it's not necessarily has become more simple in that
okay.
sense.
Yeah. Having to go on the computer more.
For example, much less leisure.
Would you say that the illusory self is likely to be less impacted by difficult situations if you realise that it's, or is it not going to have? I'm trying to sort of think, is it possible for that which isn't the self, or that which
There
isn't
just
self?
is no self. There is neither a self nor an illusory self. There just isn't anything like that. In that
it just
sense,
seems to me,
nothing-
if there is an illusion, there needs to. So what we're talking about the illusion is that which is like this created. It's like that which is created. Could you say that?
No, because actually what's being said here is that there is an illusion is already an illusion. So there isn't even an illusion. this can't be understood, but there is that's the dream, that there is an illusion, that there is a self. Is no, there isn't. There just isn't.
You have experience of sitting there, though.
No.
You don't experience sitting there.
No, of course not. No.
The sensation.
I'm just sitting here.
Not you, but this thing that isn't.
But there isn't a thing that isn't.
Okay. That is one phrase things. Apparently.
That's a good start. Now you can say anything you want.
Get out clause.
There is sensation. Apparently there is sensation.
Yeah, but no one knows that. So there is no experience of there being sensation.
Okay, that's why I was hooked on the experience, why you were saying there was no experience.
Exactly.
So I was stuck on that. I'm stuck on that a bit.
Yeah. All me would do is to experience sensations and be the observer of sensations and therefore knows that there are sensations. So apparently, maybe, probably there are sensations, but there is no one experiencing them.
Don't get that one for some reason. I can't get that one.
Exactly, it's the only thing me can't get because exactly this can't be experienced. And what the only thing me can process is to experience. Because that's one thing. To be me means to only live in experience. In that sense,
is it a language thing that we're stumbling over?
Not really, because of course I use I speak certain words and they mean maybe something else than in another circumstance. But it's really not about words. Because that's what I mean. That's the whole dream reality is to only experience. And I would say exactly that is the dream. That's the separate reality.
So it's not the me isn't about the thinking constructions. So it's that you're actually saying the me only is the thing that knows, wants to know or thinks it knows.
That first actually experiences.
Yeah, so rather than the.
So living in stories and thoughts is a symptom of separation. But in order to live in stories and thoughts, you first have to experience.
Which triggers the stories and thoughts.
So to speak, exactly. It's already a method in a way. To live in stories is already to cover up unfulfillment from only experiencing. I mean, the dilemma is, it seems that experiencing is unfulfilling. Because it's separate already. In that sense, me never is total or complete. It only experiences everything. And that's an artificial distance. It's almost like creating an artificial distance. I'm separate from everything by only experiencing.
So you think that you create separation by knowing that you're sitting?
Well, it's not conscious, but yes.
By having sensations of this weight on this.
Oh yes,
That's
exactly.
creating the separation somehow.
Or that which is aware of sitting
Yeah.
only exists in the separation from sitting.
You've got to get the only existence.
Yeah. It's automatic. As soon as I'm me, there is everything else, of course, has to be not me.
Yeah, no, I understand. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That bit makes sense.
And that's the experience of the person. I'm now here because I'm me. I'm only me. I'm not this room. I'm not the chairs. I'm not the feelings. I'm not you. Because I'm me. Only. So everything else is not me. That's the thing. By being me, everything automatically is not. Everything else is not separate. Fortunately, it's not. Doesn't exist.
So we haven't got to work that bit out then.
Again?
We haven't got to work that bit out. It doesn't exist.
I don't know. Who wants to work it out?
I noticed that with this teaching, it totally, I can't, I get comfort from other teachers. I get absolutely no
Yes.
comfort from this.
Yes.
And because I
Isn't
go
that
back to
great?
the other teachers, thank God I've got something to anchor myself again.
Yes.
This is an experience and I'm conscious and all that, that's within consciousness and all things. But there's nothing, I just don't know even why I'm here in that sense, because I'm getting, it's very, there's obviously, it's mysterious,
Yeah.
so that's the reason.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, this doesn't even recognize that you are here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I understand on some level that is it, that we're not here, there's something that kind of knows that what you're saying
Yeah.
is, that seems okay. But the bit that isn't okay is that there's no tools, there's no tools.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I have to go back to other teachers
Yeah.
to get these tools, which give me a sense of this experience, and then knowing that something knows this experience,
Yeah.
and that helps. That seems to give me some sense of orientation. Does that make sense? What
Oh
I'm saying?
yes, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, there is no connection between what's being said here, but of course that's what the person is looking for.
What was that? The sense
That
of
is
force?
what the person is. Oh,
The sense of force.
it doesn't have anything to do with that. What we talk about here. It's just
what I've just said doesn't have anything to do with what I've just said.
exactly.
Yeah.
So the person thinks that maybe in a personal teaching I get help in a way.
Well, I get understanding of the. I get a sense, or I get a kind of.
Feeling
I
of
can
well-
connect to something that's conscious. I can connect to this well-being, sense of well-being. That we use the word consciousness
Yes.
is a word, okay? So it's obviously just another word, but so I can rest in that. I can say, oh yeah, there is
Exactly.
this place that's full of well-being, and then that enables me to stay with all the many impressions that fly at me.
Yes, but this would all be within the dream.
Yeah, so you're still within the dream. Yeah. So,
Of course,
yeah.
it's a person, a dream person, hoping for a dream comfort,
Yeah.
and,
I mean,
apparently getting it.
Yeah, there seems to get something from this
Oh yeah, of course.
teaching, which I don't get here.
No.
Well, when I say here, I've been listening to other people.
Oh
online,
yes,
but
you don't get it here, of
yeah,
course.
in this teaching, in this
Yeah.
way of, yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't recognize you, and it doesn't recognize your unfulfillment, And there is nothing that tries to bring you any comfort,
Yeah.
because it's a dream comfort.
So yes, so I suppose if I look at it as my unfulfillment, that's quite helpful. Well, you know, what the word is, it's not looking to meet that unfulfillment.
Well, every teaching recognizes you as something
Yeah.
and says, oh yeah, you're really unfulfilled, so I can help you. And then
Well,
they
help
answer.
you. They help you get an understanding where that you've been looking in the wrong place, maybe for your fulfillment, and actually, this is one teacher I knew I'm talking about. So then they say, the person talks about awareness and that there's this that we are aware of. Yeah. Go nowhere.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. I don't mind.
Yeah.
No, but this is, I'm revealing, to everyone
Yes.
else who's not here, of course. Anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I'm trying to show you where I'm stuck. Where I can't, where I don't really. It's hard to meet. I'm just showing you.
Yeah. Oh, it's just impossible. There's just
yeah.
absolutely no connection, because as you said, the one is a teaching within consciousness. But what this is saying, that consciousness itself isn't real.
Yes, that's right. So this.
So everything,
you pull the rug out of this whole thing.
every result, so to speak, that happens within consciousness is as illusory as consciousness itself.
Mm.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's just no arriving in that either. It's also staying on a path. It's also just remaining on a path of remaining aware, becoming aware again and again, look inside instead of outside, of observing, of inquiring into reality
Or the experience.
or experiences.
Who you are.
Uh,
Who you think,
It's just whirling around within a dream reality. Which isn't wrong. That's fine. But it is what it is, one could say. But of course, that is what the person would say is good. The moment I feel an effect, the moment my experience changes from not so good to good, seen from the me, that's the proof. This is right, this is good, this helps me, so I gotta follow that road.
I'm not sure all the teachings are saying that. You have to always feel good.
Oh, they don't say that, no.
No, but they're not all saying that. But because there's this, there's a place of not seeking for pleasure or pain, isn't there? There's a place of neutrality that you.
Yeah, but the person hopes that this is an advantage.
Yeah, yes, that's true. That there's something to learn from.
That this is a part, that this is actual happiness.
Mm.
To be neutral in happiness. So
Yeah.
there's always a promise.
I kind of wish you were with one of these teachers and we were watching a dialogue. Often I just feel that somebody who's in.
Impossible.
Yeah.
There is no dialogue.
No, okay.
It's
It's
impossible.
this fantasy, I realise, but it would be great to sit with
there can't really be a dialogue because this is not another approach.
No, okay, so it's not something to have a dialogue about.
Exactly, and it's not convincing the me that there is no approach.
It's not you're not trying to convince the me. Yeah,
it's impossible.
No.
Basically because there is no me. But
So in what way is what's happening here, just trying to find the right words again, or not happening here, similar or dissimilar to the teachings of Ramana Maharishi? Because I've sensed that there are some similarities, and I was just wondering if that might be to help me to get a better understanding?
Well, it's hard to say, because all we can do is assumptions about what he might have thought or said. So we can talk about some sentences and how I would say that or not say that.
Yeah.
But I can't give a general thing about Ramana, a general conclusion or what I think about it. Because he was really saying a lot of stuff.
Okay.
From all kinds of whatever.
So does what you're saying imply that there's no personal responsibility?
Of course. But because there is no person. Not because there is a person who can now act totally irresponsible. There just is no person to be responsible. Already. It's already a dream that someone is responsible. I mean, coming back to Rama, as I said, you look at a lot of sentences. So, and I haven't read a lot about him, but I think one famous conversation is like someone asking, "What can I do in order to become enlightened?" And he just said, "Just remove the idea that you are not enlightened."
Okay, yeah, that's good.
So,
in that context.
so if I would
yeah.
assume this sentence is meant as that message,
Yeah.
which I don't know,
Yeah.
it would just be, oh yeah, of course, the only thing that lives in the experience of not being whole is the me.
Okay.
So when that dies, what's left is naturally whole.
Okay.
This could have meant exactly that,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
No, but that's helpful. It's just trying to get it into some sort of
Yes,
something that can't be put in a context.
Yeah, but-
trying to put
yeah,
the illusory self, me, the Pamela, is trying to put it into some context of understanding. But of course, that's
yeah.
not possible.
Yeah,
It's
but-
still struggling to do that.
But just out of the example that I
Yeah.
just said, I assume that there are thousands of Ramana
yeah.
disciples who try to get rid of the thought of being not enlightened,
Okay.
which would have nothing to do with what's being said here.
Yeah. Would you mind to say that again, the Ramana one?
Which one?
What you just said, that he said about being enlightened.
Oh, just remove the idea that you are not enlightened.
Okay.
That was his
Oh,
answer.
okay.
Yeah.
But you're saying there's nobody to remove it. Basically.
Exactly. So if you start to get into another personal path with that sentence,
Alright.
it has nothing to do again with that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he meant.
No, okay.
You know, one side would be a teaching.
Yeah.
It would have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
But if it was just saying, hey, there is no one, it's
Yeah.
whole already.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Because there is nothing to get, and there is nothing to find. And the illusion or that there is something to get is the only illusion. So the seeking never has to be replaced by a finding. The sense of having lost something will never be answered by a sense of having gained anything. It's just naturally okay. Nothing needs to gain anything. That's an illusion. In that sense, just remove the idea that there is something missing. But I wouldn't say it like that, of course. It's a bit unclear. Is it okay to say that Ramana was a bit unclear?
If you're happy with that, I'm sure.
Or is this life-threatening for me? Well, it's
I
70
find it
years
quite
ago.
helpful in certain situations to myself says, I don't exist, I don't exist.
Yeah.
Is that a helpful thing or not helpful?
I mean the
It
thing
feels
is,
helpful to me.
Oh, yeah,
but
exactly.
Coming from like what you to ask for you, on your view.
I mean that there is no real answer to that, but the whole idea of help and helpful, of course, is within the
Yeah.
personal experience.
Yeah.
Help for the person means, oh, I feel good for a moment. So it's just within the dream. It's also answering. It's a dream answer for a dream problem.
Dream answer for a dream problem.
And for a moment I can be, ooh. So, but it's all within the personal setup. It has nothing to do with fulfillment or liberation. It's a dream relaxation. Which is fine, but it never answers the longing for wholeness.
Longing for home.
Yeah.
So
This experience of relaxation doesn't answer the longing. It looks like.
so do we all have a longing for home?
For wholeness, for actually good, yeah. That it's finally really good for me. For me, of course. That there is something like that I know that I made it. That I'm sure that I'm completely loved, whatever. Yeah. That's what the person longs for.
It's an impossible equation, isn't it, really? Because until that rug's been pulled, we only operate. I'm operating mainly in this illusion of self. So
Oh, only.
only operating in this illusion. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So it's an impossible equation, isn't it?
Oh, it's utterly impossible. Of course. Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like you get glimpses either, because it's not like you get glimpses.
Oh, no. I mean, there can be
There
glimpses,
can be glimpses.
but it's not really the person having them.
No,
Yeah.
they creep into the. There's a gap in the market.
So to speak, yeah.
The me market.
Yeah.
It can creep.
But they also don't bring anything with it.
Yeah, you don't get something which sustains the me any longer than that gap it's created, and it closes up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if there's nothing you're not going anywhere, nowhere to go, and nothing's happening, then there's nothing to benefit from the glimpse.
Yeah, exactly.
In that
Oh,
sense.
yes.
Yeah.
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 That would be again the hope that I benefit from something.
That you
Or that there has to be a benefit for me.
Well, wisdom and insight is often talked about, isn't
Oh, yeah. Another
it? Yeah.
things that don't exist.
That's pretty radical.
Well, not really. I mean,
Because the Buddha talks, he's got a cultivated path, so there's a whole progressive path, isn't there, in these different spiritual paths. And what was I going to say about that? So that's where insight and wisdom comes into looking at those paths but presumably, ultimately, the result is what you were talking about. Wholeness is ultimately so sometimes making sense of these very good paths, if you like. But actually, it's only just what we're talking here. It's only about what we're talking about here. It seems.
Yeah, we are already at the end of the path.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
So that's how I make sense of myself. That's me making sense. But yeah, so that seems to be anyway. It's not really a question there. It doesn't seem to be much of a question.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. It's just occupation in a way, being on a path and doing stuff and
comforting the me again, perhaps.
inquiring
But,
into how it is and all that. Hoping that there's a benefit in my, from my effort, from my conscious effort. There never is, of course. There never was.
Is it possible that the me can be very strong in some apparent me's and very weak and loose in other instances?
Well, yes and no, not really. Because everyone who experiences, or whenever there's the experience of being me, this me just feels like I'm me. So not really, but I mean, what can happen is that the seeking, that the unfulfillment and the seeking is experienced stronger or less strong. Yeah. Some people seem to be seeking more desperately than others. But I don't really know what you were thinking of or what you were referring to.
I'm not especially sure.
No.
I suppose this me is like an appearance that happens in time.
But not really.
It apparently happens in time.
Yes, that's what seems to be happening, yeah. That people think they are someone. But that's the thing, it never comes into existence. So it's never really stronger or less strong. Because it's a dream that there is something that is coming into existence. A me, or an illusion of me, or it's not, no.
You said it never comes into existence.
Yes,
What did you mean by it?
the me.
The me, what? Me, like Pamela me.
Well, awareness, self-awareness.
I get a bit confused sometimes with the terminology, what's meant when we're using me and I. I suppose we're meaning that, when you're talking about me or I, you're talking about that illusion.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
So it never comes into existence.
No, yeah. Nothing wakes up in the morning. That's the dream.
Okay, alright.
Yeah, yeah. Seen from the me. It feels like, in the morning, it feels like, oh, I'm here now. I woke up. Now I'm here. Self-awareness, awareness. This is an illusion, that there is something coming into existence. It's a dream. Nothing wakes up. But it feels like, oh, now I'm here. I'm aware, I see, I experience life, I'm thinking, I'm feeling. I know the room after a while. Yeah, that's the dream.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. That makes sense. Because I can see what happens with my mind very quickly as I wake up, and it starts thinking I should do this and thoughts come in and things like that. So I can see, but then I kind of associate that with, but then there's a part that knows not to believe in the thoughts, or a part that don't believe in the feelings. They happen and they come and they go. But that's not what you're talking about.
No.
Is it? So that's
No.
what I'm battling with. This
Oh, yes,
being trying to make sense of. But so it's like I can understand waking, and there's nothing, and then this thing starts to merge
because
out.
there is already something.
Yes, right.
There is already something experiencing that, oh, right now there's nothing.
Yeah, as soon as you have that, you've experienced, the thought has come in, and yes. Yeah, so
No, there's not. The experience doesn't start when the thought comes
okay,
in.
yeah.
There is already something aware.
As soon as there's something aware,
Self-awareness is the illusion.
becomes the
That's me.
yes, that's the me. As soon as there's any awareness.
Exactly. Which is an experienced reality. It's exactly that. Oh, I'm awake. I'm there now. Which isn't processed it's not processed in thought.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But that's a feeling, a sensation.
Even the early,
Suddenly something notices.
Yeah. Yeah.
And feels like, oh, I'm now here. I came into existence, so to speak. I'm something which is now here, as me. This doesn't happen, of course. This isn't something that comes into existence. It's an appearance. It's what apparently happens. For no one.
There's definitely nothing during sleep. During deep sleep, there's just nothing.
Yes.
So you're saying that for you, for what's happening for you, or there, is that there's that experience.
Oh yeah,
all
one
the
could
time.
say so, yeah. Yeah. Which is hard to call it an experience, but... Yes, nothing wakes up in the morning. There isn't the experience of something waking up in the morning. Yeah. Yeah. It's not really attractive.
A bit of a dilemma, that, isn't it? Really? No, I mean, I say that with jest, of course.
Then, seen from the person, one could say that is where life moves towards. Anyway, me hopes just to become enlightened before, but yeah. That's why I say, I mean, it turns out to be an illusion, the whole presence of me. But that's what I mean. Seen from the me, liberation is rather death than gaining something. While me in its dream is constantly working on being here, being awake, and gaining something within being awake. That I do something and that I'm there to experience the relaxation that I've just created from being grateful for myself or whatever. To be here and experience 5 minutes of helpful feelings.
I don't know. I know for myself, I started doing this passive yoga posture a few years ago, and I started doing it a lot, and every day, and noticing that my experience was gradually getting better in life. But now that my body's a lot more relaxed than say 3 years ago when I started doing it, there doesn't seem to be, that only seems to be a really superficial change in a way.
Oh, totally. I mean, the thing is that better isn't real. Better
Yeah,
is,
that's what I mean. It just feels
exactly.
unreal.
Better is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with better, but it's not real, and it's not answering the actual longing. That's in a way the hope, that there is an experience which answers the longing. And me thinks that there is a real better, and that many, many, many betters lead to the real good. But better in the end is just empty. It's not really better. Nothing is really better or worse. It just didn't answer the longing.
Yeah, it didn't.
But in between, there maybe was the dream, it's getting better, it's getting better. It'll be good soon. Just at the side, so to speak. That's then maybe disappointing for the person when after 5 years it's still not good. It's only getting better.
There can be, it's good enough.
For a while. Yeah. Moving the attention to another direction.
It's a classic, isn't it? You reach one goal and that goal loses its power, and then you find another goal, don't you? Whether it's this is how we operate, isn't it? So
constant.
Like you lose,
Think for the person constantly.
yeah, so it kind of loses its betterness. There's another one to make
Yeah,
it
it
feel
just
better.
wasn't enough.
Wasn't enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we're feeling that we're not enough. We're inadequate until we've met that goal in our minds, or whatever it appears that we're.
Yeah, I mean the dilemma is that as soon as there's the illusion to be a person, there is just a sense of unfulfillment.
And not enough unfulfillment, all those feelings are all clustered around the word unfulfillment, I guess.
Yeah, one could say so, yeah.
They come in different guises, don't they? That not enough, that the unfulfillment comes in different guises.
Yeah, I mean the person then makes just up stories. What's the reason for that? I'm not enlightened, I get too often angry, my neighbor is an idiot, the world is in bad shape, something is guilty for me, or something is the reason. Then I start to work on what I think the reason is.
Yeah, then you set yourself a plan, a track to cope with the feelings.
Whatever one person says, if the world would be peaceful, everything would be fine. Spiritual teachers say, if you find yourself, you'll be fine. If you have enough insights, you'll be fine. Some people would say, oh, you just have to lose weight and you'll be fine. Have enough money, have enough self-esteem, whatever.
But none of it matters.
none of it matters, and no state, so to speak, no experience or no circumstance will answer the unfulfillment.
But you're saying not just external, you're saying internal as well.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's what I'm hearing, because often though we just focus on the externals, don't we, in spiritual circles, but you were talking about the internals, internal.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
There is
experience,
exactly. It's just again experiencing, hoping to find one circumstance which does it.
or one method, or one understanding, or one insight.
Yeah, but this
it goes on to a spiritual thing. Well, yeah, that's what I think. My mind's gone towards a spiritual track of trying to find fulfillment. But so it becomes a different language, but it's what we're talking about here. Is it seems like yours? It's still the me.
It's just still the person looking in something. Basically in feelings, actually.
So
basically in feelings.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of knowing or understanding in the end is also to feel good. To experience some kind of comfort from understanding. As something that I'm aware of.
Or it might, some sort of resolution temporarily in the conceptual mind as well as the feeling mind. It sort of comes together, doesn't it?
Exactly, that's...
Because if we've often constructed what we think is the correct spiritual way of looking at things, then it's so subtle, isn't it? These constructs quite often. Well, we're deconstructing them here, but I'm rambling now. I'm going to go to the loo before I start. There's no eye here. Oh my god. I'm going to go to the loo and have some water. Stop my mouth. This mouth.
Yeah.
Andreas, your friends and family find it frustrating that you're not there anymore? I mean, is that
They don't know yet what was more frustrating. Can't make a clear decision.
in terms of just because the relationship's not there obviously anymore, is it? Or,
Yeah.
so, do they find that, do they feel like you're not caring in some way? Is that because of that, loses that?
Yeah, I
Connection.
think there was a sensation of that, yeah. Yeah.
Perhaps emotionally not quite there for them, or?
Maybe,
You're
yes.
smiling, Andreas. Please elaborate.
Elaborate on your smile. We are not sure yet if it's because I'm just a man or because there is no one there.
The competition.
We're still working that out.
That's a conversation.
Maybe two bad things come together there.
Often men are accused then of being more detached, aren't they? Emotionally detached. That's
Yeah.
kind of a strategy that men like to, well, generally say.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't feel. I had the impression that there was a sense of really being left alone, which is not really has anything to do with. It's not because of the emotions or
The
something.
partner felt.
Yeah, I think
she-
something
She
like
felt
that
left alone
was around. Something like that was around. Yeah.
because you weren't there anymore.
Sorry.
Because you weren't there anymore for her.
So to speak, that was exactly, and this whole experience of partnership, this whole experience of we somehow crumbled in there. That's my impression.
And that's become a problem, obviously, a problem to her.
Yes and no, even that you can't really say, because it's not necessarily, you know, you just don't know. You just don't know.
Interesting.
You can't really, in the end, you can't really point it down to one thing, because in the end it just is what it is. And in one moment it's totally unpleasant to not be seen, and the other moment it's totally pleasant to not be recognized with your drama. You know, it's not either there, it's not. But yeah, for that which energetically holds on to that idea of me and us, that's unpleasant.
You mean that's gone?
So to speak, yes.
Well, I suppose it's different, isn't it? It's not the same, it's different, it's a different configuration, isn't it?
So to speak, in another way, it's in the story, in another way, it's just another configuration. You know. Which is as it is. But of course, in a way, this whole experience of a relationship or of the whole experience to be a person is an illusion anyway. So in a way, it's a dream that this is in the foreground at all. Even when there is someone, it's an illusion that this is real.
That there's a real relationship anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. And I would say just one in the story, I think that I'm much less detached than I used to be.
That's interesting.
Much less.
Detached. Because I would say it's in a way different. It's apparently different for someone to be detached or to not be there and care. It's not detached really. It's not, it's just not being there and having this artificial issues, so to speak. For the person this may look detached, but detachment is a personal state where you don't want to have feelings or act in order to not have feelings. That's in a way kind of different than not being there.
Because presumably your feelings just coming and there's no...
So to speak,
Yeah.
but of course, when there's also when there aren't certain stories running, also the feelings that are attached to that story don't come. For example, if you have it's a story again, but if you have this dream partner story, so there's also a huge potential for frustration because there is no such thing. But when there is no story of a dream partner in the first place, so all the feelings that come out of that, getting it or not getting the right one and all that stuff, they just don't happen. Yeah, exactly. But not because as a kind of a detachment. It's just that.
What's going on?
Yeah.
There'd still be like an apparent role playing there, won't there? Because Andreas is apparently playing the role as a father.
Yes.
Apparently.
Exactly. It's not playing a role.
No,
it just
not
is what
role.
happens.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, totally. Yeah. 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 And it doesn't have anything to do how many messages I write or not. Or hey, well, that's just what happens. Yeah.
If there is nobody making the decisions or
Yeah.
other things,
Yeah.
does this imply that everything's predestined?
No, because there just is no real happening in time. So,
There's no real happening in time.
exactly.
Don't understand what that means.
Yeah, so sitting in a room isn't something which happens now.
When does it happen then?
Oh, never. It happens later. No. That's cool. It happens somewhere else later. Or one could say the only thing which lives in the illusion that there is a room here now is that which is aware of it. So, but without that awareness, there just is no answer to what this is.
So the awareness is a very important part of the me from what you're saying.
It is the me.
The me, it is the me, yeah.
Yeah.
So everything that is aware, even if it's just odd, the saliva in our mouth, which is pretty going nowhere, doesn't mean anything, isn't constructed of storylines, etc., etc., just an experience. That is still, as soon as there's any awareness, it is the me. Yeah.
Yeah, so one could
Anything
say...
that knows something that's happening is the me. So it's not something that's outside of ourselves knowing, it's just this outside of the body form, experience, mind
Yeah,
experience.
this is what I would call
Yeah.
the me.
Yeah.
The illusion of self-awareness, which only experiences and knows everything. Yeah.
And experiences, okay.
Yeah.
And the me is only experiences and knows something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like a whole different shift.
Oh,
It's like
totally.
a whole different, I mean,
Oh yeah, seen from the me, awareness is the holy cow.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah. That's
Me,
right. We've
it's
been,
a-
we've been working on this awareness thing as the holy cow for
Oh yeah, of
how
course.
many?
So so let's, because that's what I'd like to
I mean,
stay
me-
with really, is that awareness.
Mm.
You know,
Seeing-
that's is where I can't kind of like
Yeah.
really get, you know.
I mean, seen from the me is the most important thing. That's why with all personal teachings, in the end, awareness is the most important thing.
The way I see awareness,
Because all inquiry of the me into what is ends with I am. Because that's all the me knows. All me knows
Oh,
is
I can only
itself.
get to I am.
Only. It will never go beyond that. It will be the only conclusion about
Yeah,
what is.
I think these teachers have that concept that you were talking about, that there's this me and then there's something outside of the me.
Well,
So these teachers that we're referring to, the holy, you know, talking about awareness, those ones. I get my impression, this me's impression, is that they're suggesting that there's this self-illusionary thing, but there is something that doesn't have to be caught in the self-illusionary.
oh yes, usually they think there is awareness, which is what you are, and there is your personal story, and this is what you aren't.
Yeah, there's a kind of something that creates separation.
It's already coming from a separation, and it's confirming separation and apparently sustaining it. It's constantly pointing to separation, coming from a separate standpoint. Awareness, or any teaching.
awareness, you know, it's awareness. So you said something earlier, quite interesting, something like that. That's the first part of the me. So how like this illusionary self sees awareness, that which is aware of this body here that I'm experiencing, isn't different to me, to the awareness that is being, you have an awareness.
No.
I don't see that as a separation, so we all share the same awareness.
No, but I'm not awareness. I'm not aware.
Well, what is it? There's an awareness that you're speaking.
No. Yeah, the me might be aware of me speaking, but there is no awareness here. There just is speaking and and answering and talking, but there's nothing aware of that.
But it's happening it's happening.
Oh, who would be able to know that?
Yeah, so I suppose, yeah, because we've created a construct, haven't we, of frameworks for the need to understand. So when these teachers talk, they talk in a certain language, but it seems to be that there's something happening in something that's nothing. I don't know, you look blank. I don't know.
To be honest, yes.
Yes. Doesn't matter, no one understands.
Yeah, no, I understand.
It's okay.
I'm just not ready for that concept.
Okay, I think it's just language that's getting into a muddle.
Could you say there's awareness but for no one? It's just like there's seeing and there's talking, you know, it's just... there's
Oh,
no
one could say there is apparent awareness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but for no one, there's no one being aware.
Exactly, there is no one knows them.
Yeah.
It's not what I am,
Mm.
and it's meaningless.
Mm.
But yes, compared to the floor, to the carpet, I seem to be aware, functioning.
Mm.
Is there an apparent me there?
No.
So it's basically just everything's exactly the same, only one difference.
Yes, and
No.
even that difference is illusory. It's not even a real difference. Because there is no me. There isn't a me there and a state of no me here. That presence that you assume isn't real. And the answer to that presence isn't a certain state of absence here. So even that, it's a fake difference. It's not a real difference. Me, no me, doesn't exist.
I would tend to disagree with what you're saying. I think I would say that this awareness is a unification, and there isn't any separation in this awareness. I think the identification comes when you identify that it's me being aware rather than it just being awareness.
Yeah, well, see, for me that's just another interpretation of the experience to be aware. I know some people would say there's just one awareness because it's the same awareness in you. That's aware in here, that's
Yeah.
aware over there. Yeah, but that's already that's already 2 or 3, that's thought through already. It's already a processing.
That's the thing
of
that
a
I'm trying to get, is that I feel like that there's something that I'm not getting there.
Oh, of course not.
Get.
Oh, because no, of course not. Because that which experiences itself to be present can't experience absence. It's impossible. It's the only thing which can't be experienced. Because experience already needs presence. Or to experience needs someone to experience. So when I say there is no one, me will never be able to go there. It's the only thing it can't imagine, because it's the only thing that can't be experienced.
So it feels like, from what I've said, I have this sense that, you know, like if you put it in layers, I am sitting here wearing this, and then there's the awareness of that. It feels like what you're implying is something underneath that sort of thing, but I'm not kind of like, I can't describe what it is.
Exactly.
I can't use a word.
Exactly.
Because
that's the only thing, how the person would process this, that I again talk of something that's beyond my experience.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Right.
I talk about sitting and breathing and the floor and the room. I talk about this. And it's an illusion that I talk about something beyond or something separate from me. But yes, that's the only thing that the me could process it. That there is wholeness, but I'm still separate from it. That's a dream. Let's have a break. I'm sorry. Hello.
All right. You're right.
Sorry.